So it was around 2006, and my dad had upgraded from an old iBook G3 to one of those brand new Intel MacBook Pros, which meant that I could have his old iBook, and since that MacBook cost as much as a used car, naturally I wasn't really allowed to touch it. But even when I did touch it, and especially later when he upgraded from that and I got to keep it for myself, every now and again as I was using it I felt a little tingle. Looking back, it was probably one of the first times I shook hands with electricity, although ever since I've gotten, should we say, more familiar with it. Anyways, after that model I eventually upgraded to a unibody one, and I had various other Macs ever since. But every single one of them would, from time to time under various conditions, give me, well, a small shock as I was using it. And now that I'm all grown up and learned a thing or two about electronics, I do understand why it's happening, but I still feel like it's an interesting phenomenon, and I wanted to dedicate just a little bit of time investigating it further. Also, there's a chance you don't even know what I'm talking about, depending on how you use your MacBook, so this might be news to you, in which case I'll explain how and why this is happening and also how to prevent it. So if you have a MacBook and you're using it right now, provided it doesn't have any shells or skins, do this. Plug one end of your charger into your Mac, and make sure the other end doesn't have that extension lead, but the brick plugs in directly into the wall. More on that later. It also helps if your Mac's battery is a bit drained, so it actively charges when plugged in. Next, take off your shoes and or socks, and make sure your bare feet are touching some sort of hard flooring, like tile or concrete. Third, make sure your hands are slightly sweaty. For that, you might want to watch an appropriate video online. Alternatively, you can rub a drop of water between your fingers. Whatever. And finally, touch your MacBook. Could you feel it? If not, try touching a nearby plugged-in metal object like a lamp or a monitor. Now, if you still don't feel anything, alright, stick your tongue out and put it up to your Mac. That's super weird, man. What? So Electroboom can do it, but I can't? Anyways, yeah, your tongue has much less resistance than the skin on your hands. Also, hopefully your Mac doesn't give you salmonella. Whatever, did you get zapped or felt a slight buzz? If not, well, that could be due to various factors, from your charger being routed by something else to you having some sort of superpowers. In that case, you might think I'm full of crap and there's no actual electricity going through your body. And to answer that, I'll connect a multimeter between myself and the palm rest, and wow, that's actually a bit more than I expected. But yeah, you can measure somewhere between 30 and 90 volts depending on your electrical system and various other factors, but heck, that's enough to cause significant physical pain. Well, the actual current is very low, like under 500 microamps, so like half a milliamp. Unfortunately, I can't measure exactly what it is in my case, since none of my multimeters can actually measure AC current, only DC. So unless there's something majorly wrong with your wiring and you're not using a cheap third-party adapter, any voltage or current leak should be well within safe boundaries. But why is this happening at all? As a kid, my charging adapter was really quite chewed up, and I always assumed it was causing it to give me shocks, but it actually has nothing to do with that. Later I thought it was because Apple used the entire aluminum chassis as shared ground, which, while not entirely incorrect, wouldn't explain the shocks, since if you actually take your meter and check for continuity, you won't find any between the grounds and the outside surface of the palm rest, and that's because Apple anodizes the parts, which creates a small layer of aluminum oxide that acts as a small insulating layer. The reason is in fact somewhat opposite, and it's due to a lack of grounding. In an electrical system, apart from hot and neutral, we usually, but not always, include a ground to provide a secure, low-resistance path for stray electrical currents to safely dissipate into the earth. However, most electronic devices you have around the house, like chargers, hair dryers, mixers, don't actually have a third prong or any other grounds because they're designed to be double insulated, since they're mostly made out of plastic, so in a case of an internal failure, they physically can't pass voltage to the user. MacBooks, however, are made from highly conductive aluminum, and without that grounding connection, even though it has that insulating anodizing layer, it builds up a charge, similar to a capacitor. Now, a capacitor usually delivers a single sharp shock, like when you get zapped by static electricity on a doorknob or something, but since we're dealing with AC, that capacitor is charging and discharging 50 or 60 times a second, depending on where you live. Now, typically your nerves interpret that as a slight tingle or vibration. You must have felt that when using a MacBook at one point or another. But under ideal circumstances, like you being barefoot, having sweaty hands, or I guess licking your computer, yeah, those tingles can turn into unpleasant shocks, and I had many occasions where it was downright distracting. One more additional note about that anodizing layer. You might notice that some spots give you more shocks than others, and that's of course due to some of those places, like for example speaker grills, which are drilled and exposed on the inside, being bare aluminum. One more place I noticed this happens is on the ridge, which has a sharper lip and it tends to chip and wear more easily. And this is in fact where I felt the majority of shocks when typing and resting my forearms against it. So if you have a brand new Mac, chances are the layer that insulates you is still quite intact, but as it wears, those chargers start finding new spots to escape and send a tingle through your dingle. To be fair to Apple, this isn't new, nor is it something that's exclusive to MacBooks. It can happen with a variety of appliances, especially ones made out of metal. However, I do think it's due to a poor design and entirely preventable. So what can you do if you want to avoid those distractions? Well, if you remember all that talk about grounding and whatnot, so yeah, the source of the issue is the lack of grounding on the charger itself if you're plugging it directly into the outlet with that duck head thing. But for the extension lead that Apple offers, it actually includes a ground. Again, depending on your electrical system, these will be different. Here in Europe, we have those little prongs which connect to these metal bits on the socket, or in rare cases, you might also have a third prong that goes into that hole. As soon as you connect that, you can see that I can detect no more voltage on the computer side, nor feel any tingles. Fun fact, these extension leads essentially hadn't changed in over 25 years, so if you have one from like 2006, you can totally use it. No need to pay 20 bucks for a new one at all. It's a fairly simple fix, but you shouldn't even have to do that. If they just included a mandatory ground for every charger and those adapters, we wouldn't have this issue, but I suspect they didn't do that for two reasons. One, including a ground adds bulk to the charger, and I guess it makes it uglier or something. Two, not all outlets are grounded. In particular, if you're using something like a splitter, it physically won't accept the grounded plug, which limits where you can plug your charger. In any case, if you ever had to deal with this issue, hopefully now you understand how and why it happens, and also what you can do to prevent it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned something and were entertained along the way. And if you were, then great. You might like some other videos. I do these every week. Reviews, repairs, restorations, retrospectives, and all sorts of other nerdy tech stuff. If you like what I do and you'd like to support me, you can do so on Patreon for just $1 a month, or more if you'd like. You'll get early access to my videos, and I usually have a couple for my supporters to see first. If you'd like to chat with me and other users, you can join our Discord server. All the links will be in the video description. Thanks, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers.